On today's Homes Real Estate Podcast, we are talking about what you need to know about Zillow. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Toering.
And I'm Chris Vanbelle.
And we today are talking about Zillow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so Zillow, of course, is not a super popular topic here with real estate agents, but
Nope.
it's very popular with consumers. And so we wanted to address it and kind of tell you guys what things that we necessarily do not like, some of the good things about it, and just some of the things that you kind of need to watch out for. So let's start with the good, because no sense jumping right into the bad, right?
Well, a lot of things with Zillow, it's ease of use and brand recognition.
Yeah.
That's
and
the two biggest things right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you this. There definitely is an element of ease of use. A lot of, especially real estate companies, including our own Coldwell Banker, I don't think have done a great job with the user-friendliness of their apps. Now, that being said, our MLSs, our realtor boards that run these, have done a fantastic job, especially within the last year or so. And I think that people aren't necessarily aware. There's an app that we use called HomeSnap, which is fantastic. It allows you to see sales with a great degree of accuracy, pending properties, which you can't see on Zillow. It also allows you to drive by a house. If you see a house, even if it doesn't, maybe it's got a sign up, but you can't find it on Zillow, or you can't find the address.
Right.
You can snap a picture of the house, geotag it, boom, you are all set, and it'll actually bring up the listing.
Yeah, that's something really cool. I know we're talking mainly about Zillow, but HomeSnap, it offers so much for all of our clients, buyers or sellers.
It also offers two other features. Number one, individual schools and their immediate link out to the ratings and grade schools, which is really nice.
That's one of the things we can't really talk about or suggest too much at all.
The other thing it has is lot lines. And it's got satellite lot lines, and then also, depending on the data that's available, you can actually have this. I wish it worked better in rural properties, but a lot of times the internet isn't good enough.
Yeah, that's the big issue.
To have what's called augmented reality property lines. Really, really cool. It will literally, you put yourself in a spot on satellite on the property line. You pull up it runs through your phone's camera, and it will actually draw out on your camera, so you can see in real time where the lot line is. Very
cool.
cool.
How many clients say, "Hey, I want to walk the lot lines"? It makes it so much easier.
Very cool.
If you have the internet available.
But this is not something that most people know. I don't think it's something most agents know about, let alone most consumers. They've not really necessarily done maybe quite the job advertising, but it's a great app. I send the invite to all my clients.
Right.
So that is the good thing though about Zillow is it does have a lot of things all in one place. It's got for sale by owners. It's got what they say are foreclosures. It's got
pre-foreclosures.
Yeah. So now that leads us into some of the things. I'm not going to say the bad. I'm going to say some of the things that frustrate us as agents, because this is the biggest thing to know about Zillow is, remember when you weren't allowed to use Wikipedia as a source when you were writing papers?
Yep.
There's a reason for that. And it's not because it was on the internet. That was the big thing. It's because Wikipedia is an open source format. So it's editable. Anyone can go on Wikipedia, which is one of the reasons Wikipedia exists, because you couldn't pay all these editors to do it.
Right.
And you can edit any of the articles. So Zillow is the same way. Anyone can post a listing onto Zillow, and anyone can then remove their own listing from Zillow. So this does come to be a problem if you have, especially agents that aren't using the feed. So Zillow takes what's called, the MLS feeds out. It's a syndication feed.
Right.
Every 15 minutes it goes out. Zillow picks up that data along with all the other sites, Realtor.com, Trulia, Homes.com, whatever.
Everything.
But if an individual, so let's just say it's MLS number 123 and it's picking up and it's 321 Happy Lane. Well, if that agent wants to create their own listing on Zillow, they want to have complete control over it. Now you have 321 Happy Lanes.
Yep.
So when that property goes pending, maybe that agent doesn't take it off Zillow. That stays up as an active listing. It leads to some confusion.
Oh, and that's one of the biggest things. Like, we have clients maybe out of state coming in. They think we're not trying to send them all the properties in the MLS yet, because we don't have that trust of face-to-face meeting yet. So that they really think that, I'll just find it on Zillow, and they send it to us, and we find out they were sold a month ago, 2 months ago. They're pending, expired, who knows?
Right, and that's one of the things, I always try and let my clients know that can happen. The other thing, this causes a real problem with foreclosure, because Zillow's foreclosures, a lot of times they will be listed by the bank or by somebody as a pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, but then they don't have an MLS number. So when that property if it does go on open market, now it has an MLS number. It's its own separate listing. It can go up on Zillow, sell, and come off without that other pre-foreclosure listing that you noticed being taken off.
Well, they are a content-driven site.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we run into people looking at Zillow and still having something active that's been closed for 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, a good hint is if you go on and you see a foreclosure and it says it's been on for 1,700 days, it hasn't been. No, there's no foreclosure in this market that's been on for 1,700 days. That's 5-6 years.
Right.
There's no foreclosure that's priced right in this market that's been on Zillow for 170 days.
No, not really.
So there's with today's hot market, those foreclosures, if they're priced right, are being snapped up. So that's just something to look at. Scroll down, look at the number of days on Zillow, and it's a nice little indicator. The other thing is check it against another source. So Zillow, unless it's the only thing that I'm going to deviate with this on is for sale by owner. There are some times that for sale by owners, they might just be on Zillow. They might not be on Realtors.com or Truly or anything like that.
Or FSBO.com.
Yeah, they might not even be on FSBO.com. So with the exception of those, a good way to see if it's an actual listing, cross-check it. A lot of people have multiple apps. If it's something that looks fishy, pop on to Realtor.com or to Homes.com or whatever else and kind of cross-check.
Or shoot it to one of us.
Yeah.
And we'll run it in MLS.
So that's a nice kind of way to protect yourself on Zillow. Now let's talk about the other thing that we absolutely love about Zillow, and that is the estimate.
Oh, good gravy.
Woo!
Yeah.
There's a little disclaimer, and just so that I am not being too harsh on Zillow here, I'm actually going to
Are we going to say it's gotten better over the last 5 years?
No, it's not gotten better over the last 5 years. It's the same, but no, I'm going to take this disclaimer. And I'm going to take it directly from Zillow's site because I do not want anybody to say, "Oh no, you just made that up." I did not. The Zestimate is, I believe, and I'm looking it up right now, but I believe it's like 11%. I'm just going to tell you right from the site. Okay, and I'm going to have to correct myself now because I just actually pulled this up on Zillow. There used to be a disclaimer that said the Zestimate. Now it just says it's Zillow's estimate, which may produce a different estimate depending on available data. But there used to be a disclaimer saying that Zillow's, it's like, could be off by up to 11 or 13% or something like that. That's a pretty big percentage.
That's ridiculous.
So on a $200,000 house, okay, so they could be off by $25,000. Or I'm sorry, yeah, $25,000. That's a pretty nice chunk of change. So the Zestimate does not take into account condition of the home, doesn't take into account lot features, doesn't take into account view, doesn't take into account, it's basically an amalgamation of square footage, beds, baths, and school district, and that's it.
But it doesn't take some of the major things into consideration, like colonial versus ranch. I've seen that. I forgot where.
It might at least take some of that into consideration, but it certainly doesn't take the intangibles into consideration. But even a ranch, it doesn't take also into consideration how quickly properties are actually selling too. So the desirability of a property.
Well, back when we had the foreclosure time, when there were a lot of foreclosures and short sales, they were just all getting lumped up in there too, and that was really
and then
data.
That'd be a real problem. But the big thing to look at it is say, hey, you've got to look at houses individually. You can't just put a bulk price on houses that have different features.
Well, that's why we do it the way we do when we're looking for the value of a home.
Yeah, and there's, in my opinion, there's certainly no excuse for pictures, but there's really no substitute for walking a property and seeing, because there's things that I'm going to see when I walk the property that I'll never see in pictures. We see significantly more out of the pictures than your average buyer does, just because we see hundreds of homes every day. But there's no excuse for actually getting out and walking the property. So those are a couple of kind of tips for how do what to be looking for on Zillow, a couple of extra facts. Again, it's a great resource for certain things, it's maybe not so much of a great resource for other things. But yeah, certainly even if you're just kind of one of those people that casually looks, shoot us up. We will, I'm sorry, hit us up. We'll shoot you don't shoot us up. Yeah. A link to download HomeSnap. It's awesome. Or any of the other apps that we use. Cool. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes. It's SoundCloud. It's the Homes Real Estate Podcast. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Take care.